Hey guys, today we have Theater of Pain 17. So prior to this, I had only timed a 15 and I managed to get into a key to time a 17. So this is exciting. This is the route I took. We have to skip two mini bosses. At this point and at this level of keys, you have to. There's no other way about it. These are the talent. I had to take Ox Stands with the improved version just because there's like a lot of quote unquote tank busters here, especially in the Gorechop wing. So I just had to be safe. And this is the gear, still 681 eye level. I did craft the belt. I know we're gonna get a new one from Delves, but I had all of the excess shards, crest, sorry, so I decided to do it. I still have the Iron neck piece. I just used the Glowtorch because it has more crit. So 34% crit, 27% verse. And here we go. So something about the skip is that you paralyze the first contender, and then you have to make sure that the Ring of Peace is right at the edge, so that he can get knocked over. But they have to hug the a warrior wall really tightly, or else they'll pull aggro. This happens a lot, so it's just something to keep in mind and to always let your group know. They have to hug it as close as they can without touching them, so that they don't get pushed into the middle of the path. So for this one, what I would have done, or what I've done before, is talent into paralysis so that I can remove the enrage. Here I kind of blanked out and I wasn't generating enough threat, and our shaman died. But it's all good. It's all good. We're still maintaining pretty good DPS. It kind of sucks because he died at the peak of Bloodlust. So that's definitely something that I needed to keep in mind. So again, Black Ox statue, AoE taunt, super important in a lot of these runs, especially considering the fact that a lot of the DPS are doing crazy amounts of damage. As you can see there, like I'm constantly in the red when it comes to my health. So it's a lot of learning how to manage a lot of your defensives. There I use pretty much everything. So Trinket, Dampen Harm, diffused magic. I even used fortifying brew just because I started panicking a little bit because everything was starting to go south. But I managed to kind of stabilize a little bit here and there, making sure that you get the kicks on those casts whenever you can. And it's better if you tank them closer to the middle instead of the outer edge, just because it's easier for people to get out of the frontal. If you kite it around the outer edge, it makes it harder for the people to kind of avoid the frontal. And a lot of deaths have been caused because of that, so um, it's definitely good to keep in mind. Mind you that one of the other things about this run is that because I had timed the 15 before this, I kind of wasn't too aware of how much damage I would be taking in comparison to a 15. So because I've run 15s before, I know how much damage I'm taking, but this just felt like whoa, like a whole new experience. Just because I was taking a lot of damage, and having Mortal Strike on myself was also not helpful at all. So it was definitely interesting, but we still timed it pretty fast. If we didn't have that death, we would have timed it probably 3 seconds faster. Well, the boss fight would have been 3 seconds faster than my 15 time. And here I'm just taking a look at the route, just so I remember where we have to go for the Kul'tharok wing. When I timed my 15, I made a mistake and we all had to run back and look for one little ghost that I missed. And here the other thing was our paladin did not have water. So most of this run was probably really difficult for them because they had to make sure not to I guess they had to really be conservative on mana. So healers, please check on your please check on your items. Here I pulled in the mini boss just because this one doesn't do the AoE glaives. It's just these swirlies and then the one main swirl. But other than that, it's just mainly tank damage, which you can avoid. As you can see there, I have 6 stacks of my Purifying Brew. So one Celestial Brew should be enough to mitigate 7 million points of damage, right? So
Watch your step.
just making sure that if you need to use Blackout combo with Pure Celestial Brew, you do it. 7.8 million damage absorbed sounds like a lot, but it kind of feels like nothing. As you guys saw there, it went down in 2 ticks for my stagger, so it's a little bit annoying. What can I say? But it is what it is.
Run. Watch your step.
As you can see, the DPS was pretty good. Overall, everybody was doing really good.
Watch your step.
In the minute, in a second, I'll start to spam my Touch of Death just to make sure that I can get it off so that the boss dies.
Watch your step.
Definitely helps avoid all of that. So we stand by the door and we do a pull counter. Always do a pull counter when it comes to these things, because it makes sure that everybody's on the same page. So there you can just roll once and then go across. If you have a slow person in your group, for example, say a Disc Priest, or even Death Knights or Holy Paladins, you can Tiger's Lust them. Your roll is enough for you to get out of the way. So you can Tiger's Lust them so they can get the speed up. 70% is definitely a lot. Not to mention that because we have a talent that we can spec into, it also gives everyone around you like 20% movement speed. It doesn't stack or anything, but still, you know, it's something, I guess. But the 70% really helps. So here what you want to do is you want to make sure that one of these Arbalists dies as quick as possible, just so that the shoots and then the what's it called, the something Quarrel Shot or something like that doesn't go on any of your DPS or healers. It's very RNG based, so one DPS can get hit with two in a row, so that's definitely not good. Here I'm gonna speed up the Paladin, just in case, you know, just making sure that we're all able to get through. And I'm making sure that he's good on mana before I pull, because that's probably your biggest mistake here.
Defensive. Attack totem.
So for this totem section, you want to use, I guess, your major abilities. Like I used the Exploding Keg, and I had to touch a Death Shot just to make sure it dies. I also sometimes use Cheevers just to make sure it goes down. But you would want to save your Exploding Keg sometimes for the Brutal combo. It helps with the damage mitigation. But again, we don't have too much of a problem with it because, again, Celestial Brew is more than enough to help mitigate a lot of that damage. So you have to make sure you get the banner down. The DPS know what they're doing when it comes to that little PvP fight section. Here, something that I've learned to do is I want to Tiger's Lust the healer. Because healers, they're casting and they need to get out of the way fast. So if you have Tiger's Lust, use it on your healer. They'll thank you for it, or they probably won't because they won't notice. But it definitely helps out save lives. So that's something you also kind of want to do.
Defensive.
So Xav is done. He's killed. Now we go on to the wing that I hate the most. It's a Gorechop's wing. And the reason I hate it is because there's just so much going on in the beginning, right? Um, just one of the things is just getting aggro and everything. So what I would do is place my Blackhawk statue in the middle of both packs, so they all gathered there, and then a simple keg smash into fire breath. But I missed the horror there, and he jumps on our druid and kills him. He autos them to death, so that was my fault. What you also can do is drop a ring of peace on top of your healer, so that those little jumping guys can kind of bounce off of it. Your healer just has to stay in it pretty much.
Defensive.
And this pull you kind of do also want to lust. You have to just make sure that everything is dying as fast as possible. Too many of those jumps land on enough people and they're pretty much dead. Mind you that they jump on someone and I think it does a small AoE circle's worth of damage. So if two people get jumped on and they're close together, they'll probably get KO'd. But we cleared this up. We have the DPS for it. Definitely the Unholy DK doing work there. Just trying to make sure that you always check both sides. Even if this gas bag was walking back, you can walk you can walk clockwise and you would still be able to go around instead of having to wait for it to patrol back. So here again, making sure that those sludge guys aren't jumping on too many people. Because as you can see, they do a lot of damage. So you have to be very mindful about that. And then something that's also a little bit risky is pulling a gas bag on top of this pull and then the little guys that jump in from the side. And the reason for that is that the gas bag does a pulsing AoE attack, right? So once you kill these sludge spewers, you can pull the gas bag in. The horror and the butcher are a little bit more easier to manage, but you don't want to have sludge spewers with gas bags just because it becomes like a lot of unhealable AoE damage to a certain extent. You also do not want to get hit by that front, so you get disoriented for 2 seconds and everybody dies. As you can see, everybody's just taking like ticking AoE damage, and that AoE damage is coming from the gas bag. So now, imagine adding 2 sludge spewers on top of that who jump on people. So it's just like, it just becomes a little bit too obnoxious for the healer. So you don't want to pull anything on top of this until it gets kind of low, because then you know that it's gonna die pretty soon. And you don't have to worry about anybody taking too much damage. So there, you know, you want to avoid all of this. I think what I end up doing is we kill it and then we pull the little guys into the next pack, right? But always making sure that people are topped off. And then Blackhawk statue into AoE taunt just to get them immediately on you. Ring of Peace, they're all bouncing off of your DPS and your heals. And I'm aggroing these, letting everybody know that we're gonna go into the boss room in a minute, just making sure that we can get some of these down. Too many of these jumpers become a bit of a headache, considering the fact that the boss spawns enough of them. There I have my aspect of harmonies at 100%. I'm trying to save it for the boss. Considering the fact that his first hit is pretty high as well too, so I'm not trying to let my purify stacks fall, but you know, they're going a little bit slow. Dampen harm for the resist, and then for the damage, sorry, and then Celestial Brute to pump all of the aspect of harmony damage into the boss. You want to interrupt the horror, or possibly maybe don't, just because it's an extra target for everybody to kind of pad off of. Get extra damage into the boss. But it is what it is. They're not necessary to survive the entire encounter. And something that I was kind of unsure of, it's like, why am I having such a hard time getting third on these? Like, they're all jumping everywhere, and like, there's really not much I can do. The teams in the MDI, they were having the same problem. Like, it's just, it is what it is. Everybody just has to make sure that they're kind of paying attention to where these things are going. You can move out of the way of the leap. It's not like it just
Defensive.
targets you and then the leap will follow you wherever you go. No, if you see that it's jumping at you, you can try to run away from it. It's not easy, but at this point it is what it is. But yeah, just dodge the hooks and
Defensive.
AoE taunt all of these little leftover body part things if you can. Alright, so that boss is dead. I'm pretty sure that we're still good on time. We just have to kill this next boss by like 26-ish minutes, 27 minutes at best, just so that we have enough time to do the next bit of trash and the boss comfortably. So, because I know that he doesn't have anything to drink, I'm asking him if he's good on mana. He says he is. I know this is a big pull, so I'm confident on him. So one thing that I did wrong here is like you have to save your movement abilities for this. So Tiger's Lesson, try to have at least 3 charges of roll. Just because you need to get to the end here fast so that everything can follow you. And then you LOS all of this stuff over here so that nothing gets to you. There used Exploding Keg to just get initial threat on everything. Trying leg sweeping everything to make sure that my team isn't taking excess damage there. Chi Burst for healing and damage. Ring of Peace to interrupt so that again my team isn't taking a lot of damage. So you kind of really just have to make sure that you use all of your AoE CC abilities to prevent a lot of damage from your team. But, you know, Boomkin Beam definitely does a lot. So we're taking the orb here and we're going to the right first. To make sure that we get interrupts on this is very important, right? So at this key level, you can take a bone spear. It's not gonna one-shot you. And these bone magus do not a lot of damage on their own. So either way, like if you don't interrupt one and it's targeting you, that's fine. So you can let one go just to save the interrupt for the next person. There I was gonna let them know that I can tank one, just not to worry about it. But at this point, it is what it is. There we have to kill the bone magus first to make sure that I can chain everything properly. And again, use the exploding keg for threat. Making sure the guardian isn't gonna destroy me also with his melees. Here we start taking damage. I had to use the Ring of Peace to make sure that cast didn't go off. So Chi Burst for damage and heal. So again, it's like a lot of our offensive abilities can be used defensively too for a team. But man, it just kind of takes away time from my DPS uptime too. So that hurts my overall in the end because I'm kind of worrying about healing my teammates and making sure that they all survive. So I'm using a lot of GCDs on abilities that are for my team and not for damage. So it's a little bit awkward, but yeah. You have to chain these two as well. And again, these I can take one. It's fine. If I would have had to take the hit there. It's fine. I would have survived it. So I had my stacks of Purifying Brew for my Celestial Brew. But the team overall was pretty good at making sure that we didn't get any cast off unnecessarily. And now in this next section, we're gonna go left. The reason we're gonna go left is because we're gonna start chaining a lot of these things. These Dark Spears, they're dangerous, but not that dangerous, I want to say. The main danger here is going to be the Soulbinder. And the reason for that is they cast Necrotic Bolt, and then they cast a Necrotic Bolt volley, which is kind of dangerous. As long as you're avoiding the frontals, like, you should be fine. Your group should be okay. The healer should be able to heal through all of the Dark Spear damage. And if they get any of those purple puddles, they just drag them out of the group. The reason for that is that it stuns you and it deals damage, so you kind of don't want that. There I'm trying to delay my Keck Smash hit into them because it slows them down by a certain amount. I don't want them to get slowed down. I want them to move into the rest of the pack. And this seems like a hard pull, but it's really not. Once you make sure that everybody is on the same page of avoiding frontals and getting interrupts on the Soulbinder, everything is fine. If you get hit by one of those frontals, you're dead. You're gonna be knocked off the platform. There's just no way about it. And for this portal, you always want to go first. And the reason for that is that if you don't go first, you're probably gonna get knocked out. You're gonna get your teammates killed. You're gonna get knocked out by one of these Soulbinder hits or the Majesty. Like, whoever gets here first gets initial aggro, so you kind of want to always go first. And then our Shaman realizing that we didn't lust that pull, which we could have, and we would have had the last up for the last boss. So again, that was another thing that kind of hindered our performance here. Not using Bloodlust when we should have. But again, those are kind of things that happen in pugs. We don't really have too much communication, and I'm kind of depending on everybody else to know when to use certain abilities, right? So it might have been a bit strange because they kind of didn't all personally ask for the route. I think I linked it, but still, it's just like they kind of weren't asking when to lust and stuff like that. So it's another thing I probably could have been more vocal about. There we were trying to guess whether or not we should lust here. We decided to lust here, and then we decided not to. But you know, at the end of the day, it's just like the faster we get upstairs, the probably the better it's gonna be for us. They're tossing out a Vivify on our DK. You want to stack everybody together on the same side, and then once the shadows spawn, you just drop a ring apiece to keep them from moving. They'll keep bouncing back, and they'll buy a lot of time for your team. Threw my Chi Burst at them just because I can. It's damage and healing. Leg sweep in there too, just because I didn't think it was dropping as fast as it should have. And my shadow was surviving a bit too long. But that's pretty much for this boss. We still are a bit undecided about lust. But yeah, that's the fight. let's Kul'tharok down. We didn't lust it. We have 420 left. If you look at my timers on the right, on my 15, we're already like 45 seconds into the last boss. So we're kind of behind, right? And here the group leader, the Shami, it was their key, I think it was. Um, they were like, "Oh, it's probably done. Like the key's over." But I'm like, "No, like let's try it. Like we can do this, right?" And the paladin, same mentality as well. It's like, "Yeah, let's just do it. We can do this." And it's definitely possible, right? The DPS is pretty good. It's not like anybody is lagging behind in damage. We just need to not die to anything, and we're pretty good. So none of this is dead, and I'm pulling Mordretha into it. It's just like at this point, it's like all or nothing right now. I think that if I would have waited longer to pull her in, we probably wouldn't have timed it.
Defensive.
There, I'm trying to throw my exploding cake to help with a lot of the melee hits. And again, nobody dies here, and we time it, right? It's that simple. So far, the damage is pretty good. Dragging those 3 mobs into it definitely help with the damage that they're pumping out.
Defensive.
This here, you can speed up your healer. I recommend it. Interrupt the one that's closest to you, and then bring a piece of everything to you, right? You have Touch of Death. Use it on whichever one of these you can, just because at this point it's like it's gonna be up for the end, right? It's gonna be up for the end, and you're getting 30 seconds of 5% more damage, which again everything helps, right? At this point, there I'm using Weapons of Order, just trying to make sure that I can get it back up again. I'm gonna get it back up again because it's a 2-minute cooldown, so trying to get the most out of all of my abilities.
Defensive.
Dampen harm for this hit. As you can see there, I took a lot of damage. That was crazy amount. Even with it being probably 60% damage reduction on that hit. So we're getting pretty close to 50%. Again,
Defensive.
whichever one is closer to you, interrupt it. If you can, just bring a piece of everything inside, right? Leg sweep it to prevent the cast. Make sure you have thread on everything. We're doing pretty good. Nobody's dying. You know, we're making sure that everybody's topped off. The healer, definitely we're on their A game for this fight. There we lost a little bit early, but that's fine, just so that we can push the phase. And here it comes, right? Crazy good AMZ from the DK. Definitely helped with a lot of the damage mitigation there.
Defensive.
And now, what you want to do here is you want to kind of pay attention to the charges. I'm positioned here pretty well. I'm not going to move Mordretha away from anything. We also have space to move away from the frontal. So just pay attention to where these things are spawning, right? And again, we're going to get pulled in. So I'm going to speed up the healer because I want to make sure that he doesn't get dragged into those AoE circles. Because that would have been definitely the end of the pull. DK grips him all in with his little slappy hands. That's great. Chi bursting for damage and for heals. Again, this corner was perfect for those charges. Nobody's getting hit by anything. And the DPS is just pumping. They're doing their thing right now. We have 45 seconds and 15% left to go. If we can't kill it at this point, then we're definitely not playing the game the way we should, right? We shouldn't even be in these keys. Here, as you can see, I got in the way of that. This was bad positioning. One death here, and it would have ended the run, I'm pretty sure. But we're doing okay here. I'm trying to cast Chi Burst, but I saw that the AoE mobs kind of spawned there. We're doing okay. I've already used my Fortifying Brew, so I can't even use that for my execute. So just knocking them in. Boom. Done. 8 seconds left, right? And everybody, well, the shaman was panicking that we weren't gonna do it, right? But easy peasy, right? So as you can see, everybody was doing great damage. DPS was insane, but the healer too. Holy Paladins are getting like a lot of a bad rap during the season. Not a lot of people want to play them, but as you can see, this guy healed it no problem, even without any mana drinks. As for my damage, Blackout Kick, of course, number 1. As you can see on the bottom, Suffocating Darkness is the offhand enchant I have. 1.5% damage, I might change it. I might get the Oathsworn Tenacity enchantment instead. As you can see, Celestial Brood doing a lot of absorbing. Celestial Fortune is bugged, I think, or I need to take the screenshots a lot earlier. I have to stop waiting so long because, again, the cloak enchant keeps ticking and it activates it, and my details keeps tracking it for some reason. So that's that for this. The next video is either going to be 17 Workshop or a 16 Floodgate. 17 Workshop was the first 17 I timed, I think it was. So that's an old video, but I'll put it out there. So see you in the next one. Take care.